Welcome to Digital Hospitality. I am your host, Shawn Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ Media production. Since we started this show back in 2017, we have been on a relentless pursuit to find people, humans, leaders that are playing the game within the game when it comes to making businesses digital. So brick and mortar businesses, how do you make them digital? Being digital first. And then people that love hospitality. No matter who they are, no matter their background, hospitality heroes, whether they're in technology, whether they're humans in real life. And, you know, we've put on so many different shows and it's connected us with people all over the globe. If you're new to the show, welcome. I hope to meet you in person one day. If you're not new to the show, if you come every week, we're grateful for your support over all these years. Today, I have a special guest. His name's Chris Fletcher. He is the founder and CEO of Tech on Toast. And the beautiful thing about his company, his podcast, his show is that I've been following him. I've been following him because he is a great digital storyteller. He has the same mission. We're going to learn more about his mission today. But Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, man. What a lovely intro. I feel blessed. And I too am honored to be in your presence today.
Well, I'm also a follower. Let's give our audience, those of you that are listening, those of you that are watching, let's give them some great takeaways from this episode, because I think you and I were both on this path that, correct me if I'm wrong, but something that I believed truly when I first started this show when no one was listening was that I wasn't alone.
Yeah.
When I turned on the mic the first time, I was convinced that even though no one was listening in the beginning, eventually I would connect to people like you that are doing the same type of work on a massive scale in the UK, not only in the UK, but you're connecting to brands all over the world. And that's the thing that's really exciting for me. So please share with our audience, what is it that you're building? What is Tech on Toast?
Yeah, so basically, I was in operations like you for a long time, about 25 years, ops director at various different brands in the UK, managing multiple sites across the UK. And the one thing that I always found difficult as tech came in was that I didn't really have a great understanding. And depending on the size of the brand, and over in the States, I think you have lots of huge brands, right? So you 300, 400 sites. In the UK, there's a lot of what we call mid-market brands. So anything from 0 to 30, 45 sites. And the problem is with that, you don't have a CTO, you don't have an IT director. You've got an ops director who's great with people, great with experience, great with food, but actually isn't too knowledgeable about tech. So I found this gap and I wanted to fill it when I came out of operations. The pandemic was a hard thing to go through. Came through it and then built Tech on Toast. And now we sit in between the supplier and the operator. So we're almost like a broker. So we have a marketplace where we advertise all the different tech people, Toast being one of them. I can see on your hat there. So they are a customer and they're great. And they've just moved to the UK recently. And then we work with the operators. So we consult with the operators, we give them advice. And because we've got a foot in each camp, because we have operations experience and tech experience, we're able to kind of bring the two together. So we do lots of things. But I think the one thing you said that resonated with me was that when I first started, like you, episode one, one listener, probably my mum.
My mom didn't even listen. At least your mom listened.
Yeah, well, she's kind. And I think it's like playing a musical instrument, right? It's 10,000 hours of practice and just keep going and going. And so I used to watch people thinking, God, how can they keep doing that? But actually, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And the more you start building a community. And Tech on Toast, more than anything, is a community. And it's about bringing hospitality people together. Like you said, whether you're a supplier or an operator, just having that community together has been so powerful. And this year is going to be even bigger. I'm sitting here looking at my diary for the next 3 weeks alone, and it's horrific. But all for good reasons, right? So it's been a really great journey so far. And yes, we're connecting in Europe and over in the States, less so, but starting to build that journey now. So our tech really gives you that tentacles, doesn't it, to go across the globe. So it's been really interesting. But in a nutshell, or as much of a nutshell as I can do, I'm a talker. That's it.
Well, what's amazing to me is when you get down to, the thesis of this show, Digital Hospitality, is that we're talking about the internet and how does the internet connect hospitality? And if the internet can connect hospitality here in San Diego or in the UK, or my backdrop is New York City or my wife's village in Bulgaria, no matter where you're intersecting with food and beverage and drink, hospitality is in our DNA. We're really good at it in real life. But, these magical moments that this technology provides for us, it's really exciting when you realize now I see, a company like Toast going in to the UK and going into London and seeing operators there trying it for the first time and going, oh my God, I had no idea that this was possible. Let's go back to, why did you name your company Tech on Toast?
I could make up some grand reason here, but it sounded good.
It sounded good. It does sound good.
Literally, as I explained, like just, the foot in each camp, I was trying to do something that resonated really about my background, because I don't want to lose the fact that I loved ops, right? And operations for me was I met my wife there. My kids came through. My oldest son is now working in hospitality. So, it's really in my veins. And my mum and dad ran hotels when I was a kid. So I've always been around it. And I think I just wanted to incorporate it into both. But yeah, everybody loves the name. That's the one good thing I did, I think.
That's amazing. Bring me back to the beginning. Why start a show? Why start a podcast?
I think it was down to the community element. In the pandemic, I'd played with some podcasting. I was kind of calling up businesses and saying, hey, you're a start. I wanted to talk to startups and really understand the nitty gritty of what they'd gone through. And I'll be honest, I was bored and I had time on my hands in the pandemic and I wanted to talk because I missed people, right? I really missed the interaction with people. But when I started looking at the community, I thought, what's the best way to reach as many people as possible and get my voice out there without kind of blogging or sending out constant LinkedIn posts or Instagram posts. And I found it as a really unique forum. That kind of content, audio content, can reach people in the bath, mowing the lawn, driving the car, walking the dog, whatever. And it was a different way of reaching people. And I think that's what, and especially coming out of the pandemic, I think podcasts in general, obviously a lot of people were taking them in. So that's why I did it. And it's the one best thing I've done. And
when you started, what was your inspiration? Who were the other podcasters that you looked up to?
There's a guy called, I don't know if you'll know him, Michael Tingsager. He runs something called Hospitality Mavericks, right?
I've been on his show. Yeah, I love
really?
it.
There you
Michael's
go. Great.
Good man.
So Mike and I worked together a little bit over just before the pandemic. We were doing some events and some networking stuff together, very briefly. But I found him actually very calming to talk to, and he's super intelligent, which I'm not. So that really helped. And I found him, and the guests he had on were really inspiring, right? So really, really clever people in the industry who were doing really interesting things and thought leaders. And I think that's something we could never not have enough of, right? Thought leaders are what we need. Everyone needs to come out of their shell every so often and hear someone interesting. So yeah, Mike really inspired me. And there's another chap called Phil Street. I don't know if you've heard him. He runs something called Hospitality Meets, and it's a bit more fun. It's a bit more comedy. He talks to mainly hotel operators in the UK and Europe, but it's great fun. And I was the first guest on his podcast right at the start, and I really enjoyed it. And I just thought this is a great way to keep talking when I'm not allowed to do anything else. So yeah, that was the inspiration.
So I think one of the things that I'm always curious about is, back to what we were talking about in the beginning of how long the journey is and making that commitment to the consistency despite that no one's listening, and understanding, because when I'm talking to brands about launching a show and how much work is it going to be, you have the financial side of, well, what's the ROI? What's the return on investment for making this crazy commitment to creating a show that potentially no one's going to listen to in the beginning? Can you talk about the ROI of how much money it costs to buy the equipment, to set up the studio, and it's never enough. Yet today you're still thinking about ways to continue to invest to make your show better.
And as a podcast host, you get jealous, right? You get podcast envy of your fellow podcasters when they're, who's got the best video, I've got a lighting rig and all this kind of stuff. But you can start out for as little as $100, right? In terms of getting going. You can really get a basic mic, run through your laptop, whatever it might be. But I think the quality in the content, I think, is really important. As I said, if you want to capture people all over the place, it's really important to have that high quality content. So a microphone is key, and being able to kind of really, because when they are mowing the lawn or walking the dog or outside in the, with sirens going off around them, they need to be able to hear what you're saying. It's really important. And I went to an event once and someone said to me, our speakers are seen and not heard, which is quite interesting, right? So you could hear a speaker talk, see them talking, but couldn't hear what they're saying. So it's very low cost, but the ROI is interesting. I've been speaking to a couple of clients recently where they want 10 episodes from scratch, from a brand new, no audience. And I said, you need 50, and you need to, and it's a long game, and the demographic you get back from it in terms of who's listening, it's very hard to then turn them into a lead as it would be that they might. So there's a lot of lead gen from a tech side. From a technology side, they want to hear about who's listening, but in case of awareness, I can prove quite quickly through the stats that I've produced, and I'm sure you can too, that actually you can build a community very quickly and a journey very quickly, and you can reach so many people. So the ROI is always hard to define, but I would stake my house on it that Tech on Toast wouldn't exist today without the podcast. And actually the customers we're now reaching, especially in Europe, in Spain, Germany, Italy, France, we're really starting to speak to people I never would have got near. And I say that to my customers, that if you want to reach these operators who are time poor, they don't have time to sit and watch an hour-long webinar, whatever it might be in their restaurants, get on a podcast, create some really nice short content from your podcast, and then get it out there. And they will resonate with certain bits and jump on it. So it's a low-cost start if you want it, but you can spend up to thousands of dollars, right, in terms of kit and, making it sound brilliant. But I look at, I forget, the Diary of the CEO. And he has, I think someone told me 18 people working on his show. I don't know how many you have working on your show. I
wish I had 18.
But you know what I mean? It just shows
we've got an incredible team, but we're not at 18 yet. No.
Yeah, my team
feels like 18. Yeah,
it's all me. But I think that's a great example of where I am and where he is. In terms of what you could do with the show. But and they're turning into TV shows, right? Some of these, they're huge.
Absolutely. Can you share a little bit more on the event side of the business? Because we have the digital hospitality side where we can connect and build community online on all these different platforms, whether it's LinkedIn or TikTok or Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. But then the other side of it is from those events, and you have somebody that's listening to your show or attending your webinars, and you actually do something in real life. Can you share a little bit about that side of the business?
We do the Tech on Toast brunch, which is again in keeping with the toast and the brunch. So they do Tech on Toast brunch. We run them, and they started off as very sporadic. We were doing them when people wanted them. Now I run one every other month. This year it's going to be nearly every month through the year, and that's about again bringing the communities together. On the 17th of January, we're in F1 arcade. Do you have F1 over there?
No, I think they're building. They're coming,
and I think they're coming on Vegas Strip. Someone was telling me, but F1 arcade are Formula One simulators, and we're doing a brunch there with a company called Vita Mojo on the 17th. We put together a cool panel. We talk about industry issues, and we bring together around 30 to 50 people, and then we put on brunch and we look after them, and it's again hour and a half. I always put my operator hat on and think, how can I involve people in our content without taking away from their day, right? So we do it an hour and a half, in and out. I feel like it's really quick, but they like it because they don't have to write off their day. So the operators come along, they hang out, and first one was like 28 tech people and 2 operators, and now it's now the balance is shifting, right? But what I'm really enjoying is the fact that the tech guys are working together on this. They'll attend each other's brunches, and there's no real animosity. It's not like competitive. It's just about community. And I think what you said before was really important. We can connect online, but doing it in person, there's nothing better. And I think that's where you get the real value of what you've built or what you're building, and you really understand what you can do better. We've got a loyalty program we're launching this year and all sorts to reward operators for attending our content, just because we want to do as much as we can to say thank you, because we appreciate it's not their job, right? Their job is to run their restaurant. So to come and listen to us, we really appreciate it. So we try and lead with insight in those things. So in those brunches, we try and gather some industry insight and talk about that. So, whatever it might be around retention or around food cost, labor cost, wherever it might be. So, but they're extremely popular, and we are coming to Europe and doing one soon, and then the States. Maybe really? Shawn, we should team up, Shawn. We should do one in the States.
Absolutely. You're always welcome here in the States. Anywhere that I can get to.
I'm losing on the plane flare there, but
no, this is a global community. Like I said, when I go, I'm fortunate that every summer I go to Bulgaria with my wife, and just because of the internet, I can stay connected to people all over. And I talk to her friends that own coffee shops and that own clothing stores, and they tell me the same problems and issues that someone in Chicago has. Like this is all nothing new. We're all trying to do the best we can to run our businesses.
And Europe's really interesting, right? Because what I would call mom and pop type businesses, particularly in Europe, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, lots of one site businesses, not these multinational businesses. They're all kind of smaller ones, and I think they have the opportunity now to use enterprise tech rather than just what we used to have. They were like looking through the window going, I wish we could get that. Now they can. Now they can access really great, like toast. You can put toast into the UK. I shouldn't probably quote this price, but a really low price, just in case it was an offer. But it's a really low price. And there's a couple of coffee shops that work with me who've just taken toast on, who are working with them for a great POS, right? Really great kit for a business that would normally end up on, without being rude, something like Zettel or Square, so it's really interesting. And I think that's the exciting thing about tech, that you can really access brilliant tech, even if you're very small.
I would love for you to talk about, we always say collaboration over competition. And one of the things that we love about Toast is that they truly have a rising tides mentality, where they embrace the reason why they're our primary technology partners, that they embrace so many of the other best in class solutions in a tech stack. When they came to the UK, can you give us an idea of how did they approach that, being new kids on the block, and how did it go? Because we're, obviously I'm friends with Phil Lovell. He does a phenomenal job. He comes out, he works very hard. I can't believe how much work they're requiring him to do, but nonetheless, it's a tall task. It's a tall task to have a brand that's done so well in the US and then come into a new market.
And I think the UK is quite a mature market in hospitality tech. It's, there's quite a lot over here already. And I think when Toast came, the most refreshing thing about it was the people. I didn't even know what the tech did at first. And actually I didn't care, because once I got to know the people, I was like, well, if these are the people they've got, imagine what the bloody tech's like, So anyway, and I think that was the most refreshing thing. And the first brunch we did with those guys, Gav, who's the global marketing director, I don't know if you've spoken to Gavin.
Yeah, Gavin.
Lovely guy, great runner. But he said to me, I don't care about lead generation. I don't care about. He just said, I just want to bring people together, and I want to understand what market we're walking into, and we really want to help. And since then, I've been doing stuff around charity. We're launching something together around autism, hopefully this year. Because my youngest son is autistic, and they're just different. I worked for the Hard Rock Cafe, right, for 8 years in the UK and in the States for a bit. And they had a vibe about them. I can't explain a culture, where they have it written on the wall, do this, do that. This is how you should feel. But it really, really did. The people really walk the talk there. And I feel like Toast is the same. I feel like the people they recruit well, the people they hire into it seem to really sing the values that they have. And I think when they came over here, they faced some adversity, because there are a lot of POS providers here and a lot of decent POS providers. But I think they're winning a very it's a war of attrition, as it would be. They're really taking their time going through it. But I think their product's winning out, and I think that's the difference now over the last few months that I've seen. And as I said, to deal with them is so simple. It's so easy, and they're so they're such nice people that it makes it really easy. And hospitality, as you said at the start, is about relationships. And sometimes if your tech isn't working, that's fine. Apple breaks, Google breaks, right? It doesn't matter. But if the people fixing it are good humans, then on you go. And I think that's the big deal. And I've also got hat envy, because I don't have a Toast hat, and you do.
I will get you a Toast hat. I've got a guy. Be on the
poster straight after this.
I've got a guy. I will send you your own Toast hat.
I appreciate it.
No, it's funny and ironic that you speak the way that you do, but I mean, that's obviously one of the reasons why we love Toast and so many other partners that we have. But when we're talking about technology, people that are in technology need to be hospitable. They need to exemplify the things that we're talking about and the solutions that they're trying to provide for us. Because if they're going to provide it for us as owner operators, we want to feel heard. We want to feel responded to, right? I mean, these are just basic human needs that we have. And if you prioritize it with people, the technology, like you said, can be phenomenal. It can be best in class.
Yeah.
The people of how that they make you feel will make you a brand ambassador, will make you wear your own Toast hat, will make you ask for a Toast hat, because it's that important, because you care that much.
Yeah. And I think someone said hospitality is the way you make people feel. It's not what you did, it's the way you made them feel. And I don't know who said that. Someone better than me said that. But I think it's really, and it's one thing I used to teach my teams. I ran a big area at one point. I had like 50 sites that I used to look after. And it was all about keeping them together and making sure they felt as warm and fluffy about my job as they felt about theirs.
Yep.
And I think when suppliers come in, that's not easy coming into this industry. I think sometimes because they have targets to hit, they've got businesses to run, I get it. But hospitality is a challenge. I think you have to embrace it and you have to go 2 feet in. And what you find is after a while, that most of these suppliers love working with this industry. They love it because we're different as well. Their customers are really nice to talk to, really exciting, unique concepts, great food, and what's not to love. So I think that's been a big learning on the podcast, because I bring on the people behind the tech and I try and talk to them and expose who they are, why they built it, what they did about it. So that's been resonating with a lot of people who've since bought from those people. So yeah, it's truly exciting, and I think only good humans will out in hospitality. I always think it's the best for left standing.
Give us somebody that's listening to this your ideas of how to simplify a tech stack.
Oh, well, I think the first thing to do is start with the problem in mind. Franklin Covey said this, I think, start with the end in mind. So really look at the problem you're trying to fix before you do anything. Don't talk to anybody. Just because the problem is, as you may know, Shawn, that if you get into conversation with a tech provider, you may be there a while, or you may end up with a lot of emails. So the best thing to do is really work out what the end result might look like. Now, it might be something to do with growth. It might be something to do with a particular people problem you have or an operational problem, but really try and look down the road and work that out. And then secondly, you mentioned this word before, what is the ROI? And one thing that we're not very good at in hospitality is putting metrics around stuff we buy. So when we buy a piece of tech, how do we measure the success of it? Now, obviously, most people will say to you, you're going to save time with our tech. We're going to automate this. You're going to get 30 hours back. You can spend more time with your guests and you'll be great. Now, that's probably true, I imagine, but how we measure it is really important. So those 2 things I would say all the time, just really look at the end result. And there's one final thing is the dreaded word of integration. Now, most people can buy lots of different pieces of tech, but really you need to look at integration and how tech, I suppose I could call it tech A or tech B, work together and making sure that actually it is seamless, because hidden behind those words are a lot of work for an operator potentially if you get it wrong. Like a lot of, it's boring, but downloading CSVs, downloading Excel sheets, manual input here, manual input there. So it's really key. So it's about understanding the actual goal of what you're actually doing. Don't just buy it because it's pretty and someone gave you a good deal. It's about the ROI on it. Will you actually do better out of this? Will your restaurant do better? And will your people adopt it? And then finally, it's about integration. It's about whether you can kind of really make sure that all the bits you have work together. And none of that is easy, which is why we exist. So yeah, none of that is easy.
Do you have a story about a mentor in your life? Somebody that made an impact on you? It's a certain story that changed your way of thinking?
Yeah, a guy called Callum McPherson, who was the area vice president for Hard Rock Cafe globally. And he started off as a KP in Hard Rock London, the very first London in Park Lane, very first site. And Callum worked us all the way up to area VP. And when I met him, I was petrified of him. But he heard I was from Liverpool, so he loved the Beatles. And I remember him saying to me, oh yeah, come and work for us. I love the Beatles too, which is a weird way to get hired, right? But anyways, just spending time with him and their obsession with Franklin Covey and their obsession with people, right, really changed. I've always been very big on, looking after the people you work with, treating people how you want to be treated. But Callum really showed me the way in how to commercialize that and actually be a great business manager as well as a people manager. And just watching some of the stuff we did Live 8 in Hyde Park. We did the MTV Awards in Barcelona. We had some great times together. And I think just spending time with him and his team was absolutely revolutionary for me, because it made me open my mind. And there's something that Frank Covey talks about a paradigm shift. And but the way you look at things differently and sharpening the saw, and all of those things, as I said, weren't just words. It was reality, and he taught me how to change them. So yeah, so Callum McPherson, I don't know what he's doing these days. I think he might have retired. He did quite well in life. But if he's listening, thank you very much. And
what do you do to pass on what he taught you?
Well, I literally, as I said, I'm using the podcast. That's my mantra. I mean, my kids, you've got kids, I know. I spend every day. There's a big scandal in the UK at the moment about the post office. I don't know if you've heard about it, but there was a post office scandal many, many years ago, and the government basically ripped off a load of people. And I was watching it with the kids last night, and I said to them, look, no matter what you do in life, just be good to people, because you can't get that back. And I said, just always make the right decision by people. And I think in the UK right now, and probably globally, there's a lot of horrible stuff going on. And I think if we can all just be a bit more mindful in the way we talk and treat people, actually things get better. And so I spend my time passing that on. I spend my time, hopefully people listening agree with me, but listening to people, try and injecting energy and fun into anything we do. and trying to make sure that people leave better than they found you.
Can you share with us your Otolo story? How did you become a board member?
Yes, Otolo's an interesting one. That was I was actually at a trade show running a panel with 4 other operators talking, and a chap on that panel wanted to get rid of Otolo. He couldn't run it, he couldn't afford it, he was on his own, and myself and 3 other friends got involved, and we had a government grant for £1.8 million, which sounds magnificent. And you would wonder, why are you on this, Chris? Surely you should be living on a beach. Well, actually, the government were involved again, and it was very difficult to get the money off them. But it was really, and that's all about mentoring kids back into hospitality. It's all about making sure that people stay in hospitality, that we improve retention. So I'm only there 1 day a month, but we've got a magnificent team who work in central London, who I'm going to see tomorrow, who we sell leadership and development courses. Mentoring is a big part of what we do there.
So every single week on LinkedIn, we do a weekly meetup. So digital hospitality leaders from all over the globe on Wednesday and on Friday. If you're listening to this podcast, we would love for you to join us. Your story matters. It's a chance for you to come on stage. It's actually one of the reasons why I got to connect today with Chris, is because of one of our digital hospitality leaders, Adam Foreman of Captive Wi-Fi. Adam, This is a shout out. We love you, man. We appreciate you. I'm happy that you're part of the community. Chris, is there somebody you want to give a shout out to? Someone.
Do you know what? I can match it with Adam, but I want to. Adam is brilliant, and he talks more than me, which is a challenge. But I think I want to give a shout out to Kieran Bailey, who's one of my business partners at Otolo, and kind of a mate from Hard Rock from a long time ago. He's been absolutely fantastic over the last few years, supporting Tech on Toast when he doesn't get paid. He doesn't work for us, but one of those people just steps up when you need it and turns up with an invite, or turns up with a panel guest or a microphone, whatever you might need. He's always there at my side. So big shout out to him, and whoever gives me a toast hat, they will also be on the list.
There you go. So I'm going to end with some of our favorite smartphone storytelling questions. So we believe that everyone is a media machine in their pocket. You don't need to ask for permission. But I need to know, are you an Android user or an iPhone user?
iPhone.
And which version?
Oh my God. I don't know. I'm on 14, I think, iPhone 14.
And do you always do a software update?
Yes, I do.
Do you have notifications on?
Yep.
Yes. Which app do you get the most notifications from?
At the moment, Notion.
Notion.
Yeah.
Nice. What is your favorite app?
Ooh, Sky Sports.
Sky Sports. Okay. What is your least favorite app?
My banking app.
That's good. Do you prefer text messages or emails?
Oh, can I say WhatsApp?
You can say WhatsApp. Do you prefer WhatsApp?
Yeah. I can't. Email is becoming less and less for me. It's painful.
How many emails do you get a day?
I would say between 25 to 50.
And how many do you enjoy reading?
7.
What music do you listen to? Which platform?
I'm literally got Spotify open next to me here. On the first one is a song from. Have you heard of Yellowstone?
I have not. Show? Oh yeah,
TV?
Of course. Yeah. The TV show.
So there's a song from Yellowstone on there. But Oasis, I'm a bit of a '90s kid, so Oasis. I don't know if you remember those guys. Anything from the '90s are on my list.
Beautiful. Let's see. Would you prefer photos or videos?
Videos.
How many photos are on your phone?
Upwards. I've got 3 kids. 10,000 at least.
10,000 at least. I've got like 70,000. So
I've probably got more. I'm just guessing. It's a lot, I imagine. I mean, they're like the oldest one's 17, so I imagine there's a lot.
What's your favorite social media platform?
Ooh, TikTok now.
Why?
Just learning it. I think I love the interactivity of it, and I think the algorithm on TikTok actually works better than any other social media apps I'm on. I might be wrong, but I seem to see more of what is me on there than I do on the other platforms.
And what's the best way for people to keep in touch with you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. I spend my life on there. So
what tips do you have for someone that wants to create content on LinkedIn?
On LinkedIn, make it short and sharp to the point. If you're putting anything out in terms of insight, put it on a PDF and spread it across a carousel. It's probably the most interacted piece of content I do. Anything I put across a carousel on 7 or 8 pages is really, really well received. And email and also LinkedIn newsletters, very cool. Everyone's doing it, but do it well. I think you'll get a great following. Subscribers are quick.
That's awesome. Well, that's Chris Fletcher. It's Tech on Toast. Chris, I can't wait to come visit you one day.
You are welcome.
I will make it to one of your industry events. I look forward to it. And whenever you come to the United States, let me know. We'll figure out a way to collaborate together.
I will be there, my friend. Community brunch. Where are you based again?
I am in San Diego.
San Diego.
Not a bad place. Not a bad place to visit.
Yeah, let's try that. I had a hard rock there, I'm sure, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's do that. Look, thank you very much for having on. Appreciate you and everything you do.
Of course, as always, stay curious, get involved. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you guys want to reach out to me, it's at Shawn P. Walchef, SHAWN P WALCHEF. We appreciate you, and we will catch you all next week. Thank you.